Hey listeners, Dan Harris here, host of the 10% Happier podcast. Imagine all your audio entertainment available in just one place. That's what the Audible app is all about. With Audible, you can always find the best of what you love or discover something new. Audible has an incredible selection of wellness titles and originals like The Light Podcast by Michelle Obama, Work It Out by Mel Robbins, and Confidence Gap by Russ Harris. Membership includes access to Audible Originals, podcasts, and tons of audiobooks that you can download or stream as much as you want. And as an Audible member, you can choose one title per month from an ever-growing catalog of titles to keep. The Audible app makes it easy to listen anytime, anywhere, whether you're traveling, working out, doing chores, wherever your day takes you. New members can try Audible now free for 30 days. Visit audible.com/Harris or text Harris to 500-500.
The weather is cooling down a bit. The leaves are starting to fall. Yes, it's that time of year again, football season. And we all know the best part of any game day traditions are the ones that involve food. There's nothing like having everyone in your game day crew coming together to bring their best bites and argue over whose family makes the best chili. And while there's no need to mess with the perfection of game day classics, like a freshly grilled Oscar Mayer hot dog topped with Heinz ketchup and mustard, it's always fun to step out of your comfort zone and get creative with your recipes. Because there's nothing more fun than adding to your list of game day traditions, like making a creamy and delectable queso dip with Velveeta cheese that can be eaten with so much more than just chips. Now is the chance for people across the nation to find out whose game day eats reign supreme. It's your turn to show off your tasty game day food traditions. Go to www.gamedayfoodtraditions.com to share a photo of your game day food tradition to enter to win $10,000. Once again, that's www.gamedayfoodtraditions.com to enter to win $10,000.
This is Full Change with Tom Laidlaw.
Tom, this is going to be our first reunion show.
Oh man!
For a short time today, we're bringing back the Tom and Tim show.
Oh,
we got Tim Muddy Waters.
No, Timmy Waters. What's happening, brother? How are you?
Doing well, no complaints whatsoever.
Good. Look at you. Still got hair in your head and everything. It's a little gray, but you still got hair there. Yeah.
No.
Good. Where are you now? Are you up north, like you in Vancouver, or where are you at?
No, I live I live in Tucson, Arizona.
That's right. Okay.
We lived 21 years in Phoenix, and about 2 years ago we moved down to Tucson, and we split time between here and the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Oh, that's right. Beautiful. I was actually up in Marquette probably about a month ago. I made a little presentation up there.
Here we go.
Yeah. Wow. That was fantastic. Yes. So we're going to bounce around just a little bit here for 1 second. So a little background. Tim and I played together in Los Angeles. And when Robbie Fatorik and Brian Maxwell coached us, they just loved Tim and Tom. They had us together all the time. And they would have us, it became like a running joke with the team, Tim and Tom, because they would always say Tim and Tom. And then late in the game, if we're up by 2 or 3 goals or 5 goals, whatever, you two just take a rest, because now you've done your job. Like we were treated like we were Wayne Gretzky and Yuri Curry.
It was embarrassing.
It was. Oh, he was hilarious. I talked to Luke Robitaille lately, or a while ago, and he was laughing about it too. He says, "Listen, it wasn't your guys' fault. I mean, there's nothing you do. You got to go on the ice." But remember the one time they dressed like a 7 defensemen and they played you and I every other shift. Remember that game? That was hilarious. I think Marty McSorley was on the bench and he was going nuts. He was losing his mind.
So leading into that a little bit, do you remember a certain game in Detroit
when the benching?
And we were it was a 4-on-4 situation.
Right.
The 2 forwards was Gretz and Bernie Nichols.
Right.
Face off in the neutral zone. Gretz gets ready for the face off and he looks back and sees Tom and Tim out here and he just rolled his eyes.
Right, that's right. Yeah. That's a great feeling when Wayne Gretzky rolls his eyes at you, right?
You and I looked at one another. Oh. The puck got dropped and I think it went D to D and we dumped it in and we changed. And Maxie and Robbie on the bench like, what happened? What?
Oh God, that's hilarious. Oh, they just loved us, right? They thought we were the best thing ever. Right? Oh God, remember we had that one playoff series against Edmonton where Norm Lacombe, Sean Simpson or
Craig Simpson.
That's right. They were playing against us the whole time, and their job was to run us in the end boards all the time. Remember this? And we finally said enough's enough. And you submarined Lacombe. He went face first to the boards, and I elbowed Simpson and said that was about the end of that. We were terrible. Oh, nasty people like that. All right, so let's back up a little bit and talk about your life growing up. Where did you grow up? What part of the country are you from?
I'm originally from Kamloops, British Columbia.
Oh, that's right. So started off as a defenseman when you were a young kid playing hockey?
Well, I not really. I started as a forward, but I wasn't a good enough skater, so they put me back on defense.
See, that's why you and I get along so well. I was the same way. I couldn't skate at all. Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
And it was a neighborhood coach. He kind of wanted me on the team because his son was on the team, and we were buddies. And I was actually talking with this coach's son recently, and they put me back on defense, and it was the best move ever, just because from there things flourished from there on. It was awesome.
So you were always on the travel teams and all that kind of stuff coming up?
I was barely.
Oh, okay. Nah, come on. You're saying that.
No, I'm serious. I was it wasn't until I was 16 or 17 that, it was, I started getting better, and I played a bigger role on those travel teams back then.
So you ultimately get a scholarship to go to Michigan Tech University.
Yes, I was playing. It was British Columbia Junior League in Kamloops. Kamloops had two teams back in the day.
Right.
They had a BC Junior League team, and they had a Western League team also.
Right.
The Kamloops Chiefs, and I played most of the year with the Kamloops Braves.
Right.
But I was fortunate enough back when you could get away with a little bit. I played a few games major junior.
Oh, you did get away with that. Okay. Yeah. Nice. And then, so did you have other schools that were recruiting you?
Denver University in North Dakota.
Oh, you wouldn't. Wow.
Did you look at Northern Michigan?
No, they never. They wouldn't look at me.
Yeah, I actually talked to the coach recently. His trick was we had to recruit. The first year I was there was the first year they had the team, so he wanted to recruit groups of players, guys that knew each other. That was kind of the draw to go there. So yeah, I guess there was nobody from BC out there. So
yes, there was. There was Steve Bozak,
but that was later on. He came the first year. Wasn't that he came in as when I was a sophomore.
Okay.
Yeah, so he ultimately got that. So you started what years? 76, 77 was your first year of college?
77, 78.
Was okay. Okay, good. Timmy Waters at Michigan Tech, Tom Laidlaw. We're like an hour and a half away from each other. Did we ever play against each other in Northern Michigan, Michigan Tech? I don't think we did.
I think once.
Right.
Would have been like a preseason game back then.
Okay, yeah. Now, did you get drafted by an NHL team?
I did. So it was actually when you and I were at the national team training camp.
Oh yeah, that's another one. Yeah. Yes.
But did you make that team?
Yes, that is a Tom story we could tell.
Well, we've heard it.
And when I was the funny, so this is when I went out with a couple of former teammates or former NHL players and had a few cocktails, and decided to put the furniture on top of the car. So you know what, buddy? I actually thought that was a great idea at the time when I'm doing it. I'm thinking, this is really funny. This is good. Oh, I'll never forget when Father Bauer comes out the next morning, hands me my plane ticket, sends me home. That was classic.
Tim, were you like looking at this guy saying, what an unforced error that guy just pulled?
No, he was happy because it increased his chances of making the team.
Yeah.
He didn't care. He didn't care about me at all.
I didn't even hear about it till a week later.
Oh, is that right? Oh,
no, I didn't.
Oh, jeez. Stupid. It's one of those things you look back at and go like, Tom, what were you thinking about? All right. So you spent how many years at Michigan Tech then?
So I spent 2 years there, and then I made that Olympic team in 1980.
Right.
So I took a year off and then had the option. I could have turned pro with Winnipeg at that point. But really what happened, I says to myself, if I turn pro at this point, there's no way I was going to get a degree. So I made that conscious decision and said, well, a week after the Olympics, I was back at school at Michigan Tech, went to school that spring, that summer, and the whole next year. And it made me, that year away really helped me both on and off the ice. It was really a good situation.
So you didn't play at all that year? You skipped a whole year?
No, I went back. And then I played that following fall.
Oh,
but I made up all those classes, and I was prepared to. I knew I could graduate if I turned pro at that point.
Okay, gotcha. Good.
So I ended up 3 years at Michigan Tech rather than 4.
Good, excellent. Okay, how was the Olympic experience for you guys?
for me, it was outstanding.
Oh.
I mean, I loved every second of it. It was some of the guys weren't happy with it. We lived in those Atco trailers, remember training
that's
camp?
right. Yeah.
And some guys weren't too happy about it. It was a kind of a shoestring budget.
Yeah.
For me, it was one of the best. It was the first time ever that I could play hockey full time.
Right.
And to me, I loved it. It was heaven.
Right.
The guys were all together living in this little Atco trailer across the parking lot from the rink. So
That's right.
we trained every day, off the ice, on the ice. So for me, it was an awesome experience.
You're making somebody jealous right now.
Oh yeah, especially the way I screwed it up. Yeah, I really felt like, man, I'm going to do this. I'm going to represent the country, be in the Olympic team. And I remember crawling home with my tail between my legs after that one. Yeah. And so who else was on that team? Glenn Anderson was on the team?
Yeah, Glenn Anderson, Jim Nill.
That's right.
Randy Gregg.
Paul McLean too, right?
Paul McLean.
Right.
Don Spring.
Oh, yeah. And you played with Don Spring in Winnipeg as well, right?
Yes, exactly. So Don and I were partners on the Olympic team, and we were partners probably my first 2 years on and off in Winnipeg.
Wow. We recently did a show with Jim Kite. He was fantastic.
Oh, Jimmy.
Yeah. I did not realize he was totally deaf like that. I knew he had a hearing problem, but that was amazing to have a career that he did.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. He's quite a guy too. He's very interesting.
Oh, he is.
Oh, that's another show.
Did he tell you he was a really good dancer back in the day?
Oh, no, I did not hear that. I wish I'd known that. Oh, God. Wow. That's funny.
Very good dancer.
Very good. Okay. Very good. Was he clothes?
Oh, yes, he was.
Oh,
yeah, but he could shake it.
Yeah, seriously, he was a good dancer.
I mean it, yes.
Oh, God, we got to get him back on now. Had another show on dancing. No, that's good. All right. So how many years did you end up playing in Winnipeg?
7.
Okay, good.
Do you remember your first goal in your rookie year?
Oh, heck yeah.
Who was it? Who'd you score on?
Joe Malash.
Oh, okay.
North Stars.
Good. How many total goals did you get in the National Hockey League?
Well, wait, let's stop right there because this is a great question.
How many did you get?
Well, here we go.
Yeah.
So who thinks they had more goals?
Oh, I definitely had more goals. No question.
Tim, what do you think?
I think it's pretty close.
Pretty close.
Well, Laidlaw had 25.
Yeah.
And Tim had 26.
Oh, is that right?
So he's got you.
Can you imagine that we're that close in goals? How many total years did you get in the NHL?
13.
13 years you had in the NHL.
There's a couple half years in there though.
Yeah. So you had 7 seasons in Winnipeg. Did you get traded to LA, right? Or how'd that happen?
Winnipeg offered me a termination contract.
Oh, okay.
So I could have signed that termination contract and had 1 year left in Winnipeg, but they did not. They weren't planning on playing me.
Oh.
And so John Ferguson, bless his heart, who he did me a favor. He said, "Here's a termination contract. You can, you have the month of May, I think, back in the day.
Sure.
You can go wherever you want, and you're a total free agent, basically."
Right.
If no team was interested,
right,
I could sign the termination contract and get my last year, in Winnipeg or whatever they wanted to do with me.
Did you have an agent working for you at that time?
At that point, I didn't. Prior to the termination contract, I didn't. But on an hourly basis, Don Baisley, who was from Winnipeg, and he heard stories about me. I heard stories about Don, and we finally hooked up. And he helped me get my first contract in LA.
Oh, did he? Okay. Well, was Rogie the GM at that time?
Yes, he was. Yeah,
Rogie Vanshaw. So that's right. So that season was what, 88,
89. That's the first year of Gretzky.
Oh, so Waters and Gretzky both come in the Kings at the same time. That shook up that organization right there. Those two guys.
So 3 weeks after I signed that contract, in fact, I think John Tonelli and I signed on the same day.
Oh,
and I think it was 3 weeks later the Gretzky trade happened.
Wow. That was something. Remember those days, like we were sitting there watching that happen as a player, and I'm thinking to myself, no way, it's not going to happen. You start hearing things in the morning. Then when it happens, you're like, oh, we're playing with Wayne Gretzky.
Well, so here's I'll tell you a story on that.
Yeah.
I'm in Winnipeg, and I had a little repair in my shoulder that I get done. I was on my way to the clinic for rehab in a little car I had.
Yeah.
and the radio was down by the floor. I was, oh wow, listen to this. Gretzky got traded.
Yeah.
I rear-ended someone. It ended up being a 4-car accident.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's classic.
Oh my!
Oh, good. So, did we start playing together right away when you got there? I can't remember.
I don't remember training camp for certain reasons.
We back in the day, like that team was incredible, right? Did we go to Hull for that training camp, or was that in
No, Victoria?
Victoria, that's right. So we had this veteran team, you know, Wayne Gretzky, Timmy, myself, Dave Taylor, Larry. Was Larry Robinson there yet?
No.
No, John Tonelli there. So this veteran team, right? So training camp was an opportunity for the little bonding to take place back then. Man, we had some fun.
Are you guys practicing at all, or just?
Oh no, there's practice, two-day practices. So we skated really hard, but we were
Doing harder at night.
Didn't go get a lot of sleep, that's for sure.
So here, true story. Probably three days in a training camp, Maxie comes up to me and says, "Timmy, what are you doing?"
And you played with him in Winnipeg too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You're awful.
I'm drunk out here, man.
Time out. That's all I needed to hear.
Oh,
I went on the wagon.
Oh, did you? Oh,
I did. And it was because nobody knew me in LA.
Right.
You know, I was this guy in Winnipeg that would slash everybody and whatever.
Right.
Went training camp, and they know I don't know them. They don't know me. Yeah. And it was like after 3 days, it was like, you know, I was trying to get to know everybody and be one of the guys, and it was like, oh gosh, I gotta go and I can't do this, otherwise I won't make the team. And I barely made the team that year.
Did you really? Oh wow, I don't remember it that way. Wow. Because that team was a fun bunch of guys, right? Like, you know, as Wayne Gretzky, I have total respect for, a fantastic athlete, but he could pound his beers too. Like he loved that part of the game, like having the guys all together. And man, remember that we would walk back to the hotel from the rink. There was some bar restaurant up on a hill, kind of. Remember that? And you'd have to walk. And if you didn't want to, it's like you'd have to sneak by the bottom of the hill to get back to your hotel. Somebody would be yelling at you. He was the one that was usually yelling at you to get up there and have a beer with him.
In Victoria?
Oh. Yeah. Don't you remember that?
I don't remember that.
Oh, yes. Oh, I'll never forget one more. I said, that's it. I've got to get back to have some sleep. You know, we skated in the morning. Oh, so we must be done skating because they're sitting up there having beers and we've been out for days. And I'm trying to get back to the hotel, and you know, it's Wayne Gretzky, and he comes out and he tells you to get up there and have a beer. What do you do?
You're having a beer.
You're having a beer. I'm there thinking, oh my God. But then, you know, like an hour into it, what's the plaza? Let's just keep on going and, you know, power through it. Oh,
Tim was too busy getting in hockey shape during that time.
Oh God. We skated hard though. Like we still got our work done in practice.
Yeah.
But, oh man.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Those were fun times. Yeah.
Yes, they were. Yeah.
Yeah. Tim, how was your experience on that team? Because we talk about it with former Kings guys from that era, and it's like you're playing on the Beatles at that point.
Yeah.
It was okay.
Oh, I know. Is that true though? Oh man, what a change. Because I was there when it was the purple and gold jerseys before Wayne, and it was still great. We had a good team, but then Wayne shows up and
it was unbelievable. I mean, it was we were the talk of the town in LA. Everybody wanted to see us on the road. Yeah. It was at times it was a circus, but boy, it was fun. You know, coming from Winnipeg, it was like I never experienced anything like it, and it was a unique experience, and loved every second of it.
Yeah, is that true? Like it really made a huge difference. I felt like it was a better hockey player, right? All of a sudden Wayne's going to be on the team. Yeah, that was good. So I retire in I think the 89-90 season was my last season I played, and you continued on for how many more years?
Well, I played. So I was under contract for LA for 6 years.
Right.
So I probably played there for 4 years full time, and then near the end of my career, I got sent down to the Phoenix Roadrunners, where the farm team was.
Right.
And it ends up that there was a little bit of a revolving door with Defenseman, and it ends up I spent more time back in LA over my last 2 years, and it was I have a couple of good stories about so near the end of my career, I'll say the second year before the end, I get sent down to Phoenix, and and I'm kind of a player coach down there, a player
Right.
assistant coach.
Right.
And which was, I felt that, this is kind of my foot in the door for coaching down the road.
Sure.
So I made a point of helping out all the defensemen do what I could, and but Rennie Chapdelaine was a defense partner of mine, and LA was going through a tough time. Paul Coffey got traded away from LA. Rennie and I get called up at the same time.
Oh.
Barry Melrose calls us into his office at the same time.
Right.
I remember this like yesterday.
Right.
Barry, we sit down in front of Barry, and Barry did not even look at us. His eyes are like this. You guys might play 1, 2, maybe 3 shifts a game. Be ready.
And that was it. Okay.
He turned around.
Oh, that's funny. Oh.
So we leave the office. We leave the coach's office in LA.
Right.
Rennie is pissed.
Oh.
He is.
Yeah, because he's just a young kid getting started, right?
He's a young guy getting started, and he is so angry. This is so BS. It's so and I remember looking at Rennie and saying, Rennie, it's going to be the best 2 or 3 shifts I got. And without a word of lie, 3 weeks later, it's the morning after we played a game, and Cap Raider comes up to me.
Good guy, Cap Raider, yeah.
And he says, Muddy, how much do you think you played last night? I said, well, quite a bit. I mean, there was a lot of penalties. I killed a lot of penalties, and the guys got hurt and stuff like that. He said, Muddy, you played more than any defenseman on our team and more than any defenseman on the other team.
Oh, is that right? Wow.
And I looked at him. I said, Cap, should I go in and renegotiate? I was on a 2-way contract at that point.
Oh, were you? Oh, wow. Did you negotiate with Rogie, or what'd you do?
The first year, Don Baisley did it for me.
Okay.
And then after that, I did them myself.
Yeah, I was doing it myself all the time. I was in LA. And this is back when Bruce McNall, who ultimately went to jail, but it was great to us. He was owning the team, obviously. And so if I wasn't getting what I wanted from Rogie Vachon, I would just give Bruce a call and say, Bruce, can I come into the office? And he said, what do you want, Tommy? This is what I want. He said, okay, I'll get that done for you. Yeah. He was giving away other people's money anyways. He really didn't care. So that was unfair to Rogie, but it just was like, God, we gotta get the contract done.
Tim, what made you and Tom so effective as a pair?
Good question.
Obviously not your goal scoring, but
two defensive-minded defensemen.
Yeah, and usually it isn't that way, right? Usually it's an offensive guy and a defensive guy.
Yeah, and I think we had the ability to shut down certain lines, and I think that kind of helped. I mean, we were a very offensive-minded team, so no one was thinking defense basically.
And
so
you guys both like to use the lumber too, right?
Yeah,
lumber.
Oh. Oh God! I don't remember. There's a game in Winnipeg. I'll never forget it. You and I were killing a penalty, and I think it was Thomas Steen. I can't remember who it was. Cross-checked you in the back and knocked you down right in front of the referee. Referee didn't call it, so I figured, okay, this is a great opportunity. I'm just going to hammer him, and I cross-checked him in the back and knocked him down. The referee, you didn't call it on him. You can't call it on me. Well, we were nasty. I think there's a little we were hard to play against too, right? Like the hooking and holding and spearing and punching in the face and. Like every shift you're going to play against us was an adventure, right? It was,
you knew that you played against us, and I think we were hard to play against, and you let people know, and I laugh at it because I got the crap beat out of me many times.
Yeah, that's the byproduct of playing like. But I think we both had to play like that to make it in the National Hockey League, right? We would not have, if we didn't play that way, we would not have played in the National Hockey League. Right?
Yeah, totally. I totally agree. It's funny because I had stints down in Phoenix, and the guys would say, I know you played in LA.
That's true. So when I hurt my back, I went down there too, and I played for like 3 or 4 games. I remember the guys were looking at me like, what? This is what a player looks like in the National Hockey League. Because we're going down the minors too. We're not playing as nasty as we did during the NHL stints. And I remember a couple times
like I should be carrying the mail from end to end. I said, what?
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Right. I'll pass it to you again.
Right. Remember, so one of the plays you make is like an automatic in the NHL is that you pretty much guaranteed coming out of your own zone. If you come around the net, there's going to be a winger on the hash boards there. So you don't even think. You just get that puck to him. Like Tim and I, we did not want to carry the puck too often. Get the puck to that guy. We've done our job. Go down to the minors. I did that the first time. There's nobody there. I just instinctively fired the puck there. And there's nobody standing there.
Yeah.
Anyways, because it's young kids. They're just learning the game a little bit. So, oh God. Yeah.
And true story. For guys like you and I, it was easier to play in the NHL versus in the minors because of that. Guys, you expected guys to play their position, and they were there when you expected them to be. But in the minors, it was a little different.
And I think that Tom asked a good question there too. I think one of the reasons we knew what our role was, we didn't try to do something that wasn't our role. We were not going to carry the puck end in. We weren't going to be in the power play. Move the puck up, clear out the front of the net, be a pain in the rear end to play against. So that's probably helped us a lot. So you've had those last 2 years where you're kind of player coach. So at that time when that contract expires, now you're done with your career?
Yes, I was done.
And did you start coaching right away?
Well, I was fortunate enough Stevie Casper called me, and he asked me if I was interested in being an assistant coach in Boston.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Yeah.
So I spent a year as an assistant under Stevie and Cap Raider. Cap was the other assistant.
Right. Good. Just the one season there?
I was just there one season, and then I had the opportunity to be the head coach at Michigan Tech.
Oh, that's right. Yes, I forgot you went back there. Yeah.
Well, I try and forget that too.
Oh, why? How many years? What happened there?
It didn't go very well.
Oh, really? Why? Recruiting or the team wasn't that good? Or?
Well, it was so much of the college game is recruiting, and I was an outsider coming back into college hockey. I really wish I would have got back into it as an assistant coach first to get the lay of the land. It took me 3 years to figure out what was what, and it was a great experience, a great learning experience, and but after that, it was I opted to look for something else outside of hockey, and we moved back to Phoenix area, and we lived in Phoenix for well over 21 years. So
and you got in the real estate business, correct?
Yeah, I was in commercial real estate. I leased and sold office buildings.
Very good, very good. So a lot of you have a good personality to do that, right? You got to get along with people. Or?
Well, you got to get along with people, and you got to read the situation and understand. You're working with brokers, you're working with tenants, and you're working with owners. So it was. I enjoyed it. It was a really good career for me after hockey.
Right. So now, how many kids do you have?
3.
That's right. Wow. Oh, that's right. How old are they now?
They're older. So we have our oldest boy lives in Traverse City.
Oh.
His name is Brian.
Right.
And he was buddies with your son.
My stepson. Yeah.
And so they're in Traverse City. He's married with 2 boys, and our daughter is in Northern California and married with 2 kids.
Wow, grandpa! And
our youngest son is just moved up to Portland, Oregon, probably about 6-7 months ago.
Oh, very good.
Tim, do you have more divorces than Tom, or you?
He doesn't. You got 0 divorces, right?
Zero divorces.
Yeah. How can a hockey player not get divorced?
Sally,
saint of a woman, Saint Sally.
Yeah,
she's a saint of a woman.
Yep.
Yeah, been married to you for how many years now? You've been married? You better know.
80. Yeah.
How many?
Since 81, 41, 42 years.
Wow. God. I was married twice and I don't have that many years. You total them all up. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Good.
No,
so you do that, then you get an opportunity to go over to China.
Yeah, well, I was working commercial real estate, and that was my career choice after, I did that for 21 years.
Right.
And I saw an email go out through the Kings alumni. Was there anybody interested in coaching overseas in China? Because I had coached youth hockey in the Phoenix area my whole time there.
Sure.
And I would go over to LA and help them with summer camps,
sure.
Through the season and in the off season. And I saw this email come in China.
Yeah.
Boy, that would be kind of a cool deal.
Yeah.
And I looked into it. Sally wasn't too keen.
That's right, because she did not go, right? You're going there by yourself?
She didn't go, but she came over for a 3-week visit.
Okay.
And I just thought, boy, I really like commercial real estate, but I wasn't in love with it.
Right.
And the opportunity, I said, well, gee, this is a 2-year gig. I could go to China, and I've never really played overseas, and what an experience it would be. And it was a really cool experience.
How was the language? Did you have is that a problem?
It's Chinese, Tom.
I speak Chinese. It sounds like English, but it's really Chinese.
All the kids in public schools and private schools are taught English in China.
Wow.
And
this is an education for you now.
Yeah, right.
Learn that.
And so it was, at times it was a issue, but not too bad of an issue.
Okay. And then obviously you were saying before that you had a team over from China in LA when the pandemic hit, correct?
Yes, exactly. So we had like a peewee, a squirt team over in LA for a week-long camp and a little tournament. And as we were in LA, that's when the crap hit the fan, and many of those kids and parents got stranded in LA for a while.
Oh, that's right.
Until they found ways back to China. But it was a really interesting program. I'm so glad I got involved with it, and a great experience for me. I saw, Sally came over for 3 weeks. We saw sights of China that I never dreamt I would ever see.
Sure.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Now, did you watch me on Survivor?
Oh God, here we go.
Well, I missed the final episode. I was in China.
So did Tom.
Yeah.
He was long gone.
Were you in China?
I was,
then?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I was sitting there thinking, hope Timmy's watching. That's all I thought about when I was in Fiji.
Yeah, right.
I hope Timmy Waters is watching me walk around in my underwear. Yeah. So Muddy, just go back to your Olympic experience, how good it was. Where ultimately did the team finish? What was the
we were out of the medal round.
That's right. Okay.
It was unfortunate that we were a team very much like the American team.
Yeah, sure.
All college amateurs basically.
Right.
There was no pros at that point, and so it was.
Who was your goaltender?
There was Bob Dupuis.
Oh, okay.
And he came from senior hockey, Canadian senior hockey in Northern Ontario. It's so funny in the fact that, I shouldn't say funny, but some of the players on that team were bitter and how that year went or how it was run.
Right.
And
instead of just enjoying the Olympic experience. Right?
Well, yeah. Well, it was like they thought it was a shoestring budget, which it was kind of.
Sure.
But again, for me, it was like first time playing hockey full time.
Yeah.
It was the experience of a lifetime for me, and that's how I enjoyed it. And I guess the one issue with the team, so there was a big contingent from University of Alberta, which was Claire Drake. There was a big contingent of players from University of Toronto, which is Tom Watt.
Oh, that's right. And
there was 4 U.S. American college players.
Oh,
Brian Maxwell, or no, not Brian. Kevin Maxwell.
Yeah. I remember he was a nasty little guy too, wasn't he?
Yeah, Glenn Anderson, Ken Berry, and myself.
Right.
And then there was a few other guys into the mix. Big contingencies from University of Toronto and University of Alberta.
Sure.
And that was a little bit of an issue at times.
Oh,
because Claire Drake and Tom Watt were legendary coaches,
right?
And they had differences of opinion at times,
right? Of players' roles on the team.
No, how the systems.
Oh, okay.
Tim, is it fair to say that you guys were one stay-at-home defenseman away from meddling?
Yeah, absolutely.
What? You are such a shit disturber. What?
You guys could have been a miracle.
I'm liking you more. I
know.
I like your partner there, Tom.
Picks on me all the time. Picks on me constantly. Oh God, I've told that story. You know what? I did not want to tell that story for many years. I didn't tell anybody that story. I don't think for years. It's when I got going on all this True Grit Life stuff. I figure, listen, if I got to, I'm saying that stuff, I better live by it and use that as an example for people, because that was embarrassing. That was just like I went for years and thinking to myself, like, I remember going back to Marquette, Michigan. So I told everybody there, I was really cocky. I said, I'm making this team because I really felt confident I was going to make the team. I was giving away my stuff and everything. I had this favorite little beanbag chair that I'd sit on, gave it all away. Now I got to come crawling back home. And first of all, saying that I didn't make the team. And then, like, okay.
Can I have the beanbag chair back, please?
Yeah. I threatened the guy. I think, give me the beanbag chair back. Yeah. So.
And I went into that year the total opposite. I had no,
really?
I didn't know if I was going to make the team at all.
Right. So the winter before, they had like about 40 guys. 20 went over to Europe. I was in that group and toured around. You toured around North America, correct? You in that other group?
I was supposed to go to Europe, but I hurt my shoulder.
Oh.
And I ended up playing with the team in North America.
Oh, okay. That was actually cool for us. Like, we got the chance to go to Czechoslovakia, Germany, I think Sweden, we were in France. We played one game. Played some team from France. We were 22-0. I think I might have scored a goal even. But
wow, junior team.
Yeah, it was a pretty bad team. Yeah. It's funny, we were playing like this old wood building, and I think, okay, we're going to play at the Olympics, and now we're doing this. Yeah, I thought it's interesting to talk about how players were kind of down or bitter about the fact that it was a shoestring budget. I thought it was fantastic, just the touring around the year before, and that was a blast.
Yeah, I agree. To me, it was an experience of a lifetime. First time to play hockey full time for me. Yeah. And I just, I love the barracks. We were all together there.
Yeah.
There's so many good stories that we had that year. It was a fun time.
Yeah, it was too. So any regrets at all in this fantastic life you've had?
Nada.
Yeah. I like that answer. There you go.
But don't let him go so quick. Tim, can you give us a good Wayne story while you're here?
Oh, I'm not done with him yet. Good Wayne story.
Do I have a good Wayne story?
Yeah, didn't you want to use your sticks in practice or something? Is that?
Well, the first year in LA, so I'm using Easton sticks, and the reason I'm using Easton sticks is because when I cross-check someone, my stick doesn't break. Back in the day, you cross-check someone, you break your stick, 2 minutes in the box.
Right.
So that year during practice, Wayne is using my stick in practice.
And why? We didn't understand why.
Why are you like? And he's making these passes that, oh my! I said, that's BS, Gratz. Show me how to do that.
It wasn't the stick. It wasn't the stick.
And he was amazing because that stick I used was a club.
Yeah, that's right. And his was kind of a club too. Like, I looked at his stick sometimes. Like, how does he play with that?
Yeah, it was pretty thick. A thick piece of lumber back in the day.
Yeah.
And so he used my stick in practice, and it was like, so after the first year in LA, he signs the big Easton contract.
That's right.
And Jim Darby is the Easton rep. He's a baseball guy. He has no clue about hockey sticks.
Right.
And so I go up to Jim. I said, Jim, Gretz is using my sticks this whole year. He gets this big contract. What are you going to do for me?
That's right. Hey, were you in training camp when we went up to Hull for training camp?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a story might get us in a little bit of trouble, but we'll go for it. We'll spice things up a little bit. Remember so in the morning, first day of training camp, we do all the physicals, and then we're going to have a meeting at night. So we got the whole afternoon to kill. So we decided to have a little team bonding session at a Canadian ballet place. Do you remember this?
No.
What do you mean Canadian ballet, Tom?
One of those places where I didn't know this was going to happen. When we walk in, these girls are taking their clothes off, and it's, I don't know what I guess it's called a strip joint or something like that. Yeah. So we're with Wayne. I remember. So we start. Larry Robbins is there as a whole bit. So we start having a few beers, and we got to go back to the meeting now, pierogi. And I remember us all, and you and I must have said it to each other 10 times. Well, we're with Wayne, so it's okay. We can do it. So everybody, a bunch of little kids, we go back to this meeting, and we're halfway in the bag, and we're giggling like little kids. I felt so bad for Rogie, but it was actually a fun time. Like, the whole team got together there. All the veteran guys. That was fun. It would have been great if you were there, but unfortunately you weren't there because you didn't go to those places. We had a blast. I'll tell you, I'm the same as you. You had 13 seasons. I had 11. And I'm assuming for you look back and say that, to say like at 18 years old that somebody told me I was going to play in the NHL for 13 years with our skill level. It was pretty good. It
was a dream come true. I mean, I have no regrets. I mean, and some of the things, you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Oh, yeah.
I got the crap beat out of me so many times. And
Well, you know
deserved
what?
every one of them.
Yeah. Oh, totally you did. Yeah. But you know what? I look back at your career and I can say you could probably say to yourself, I got the most out of my career possible, right? Like and I'd say this is a total compliment to you. It wasn't skill that drove you. It was like you just sheer will and desire out there.
Well,
Like
I tell people this is that my claim to fame was to last as long as I did with as little talent as I had.
yeah, totally. Yeah. And you did it just by a heart and guts. And yeah. Yes. But you did stir the pot.
Doing stuff that other people didn't want to do. And you just kind of.
Yeah.
Tim, did you have a lot of scraps?
Well, the guys, I don't know if I really fought, but I got beat up a lot.
Well, the thing is too, like for you, like you wouldn't just pick on smaller players. Like you pick on everybody. Like you stir the pot with everybody. Marty McSorley, whoever it was.
Marty, I remember Dave Brown so here is a story. So we're in LA. I think it was probably I don't know. Edmonton sent all the tough guys out.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Is that when somebody went after Messier at the start of the game? Didn't McSorley go after Messier or something?
I don't know, but I think that this game held a record for most penalty minutes in the NHL game.
Right.
So who do I get paired up with?
I remember
Dave Brown.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
So I get in tight. I'm holding him in tight, and he's just ripping on the top of my head. Thank goodness I have my helmet on.
Right.
But this is hurt. Those big guys like that.
He's a big man.
They're just hammering down on my head, and I'm in tight. And the next day my head was so sore. I had bruises on my head. But the fight breaks up finally. It's a 5-on-5 brawl, so there's no one to save you.
Yeah.
And so eventually it breaks up, and I remember going by the Edmonton bench. In my helmet's on sideways, I looked at John Muckler and said, "Is that all you got?"
Oh, did you say that to him? That was typical of you too. It wasn't just the physical part; like you were yapping all the time
Nice
too. Like you were giving it to him. Oh, God.
Oh,
That's
boy.
funny. And I think I watched that video. I think if I'm not mistaken, they started up again too, and you got tied up with Brown twice. I think they got away from him and then got back together. I remember seeing that.
Who'd you have, Tom?
I was up in the stands. I was retired, I think, or I was doing radio work maybe at that time. I don't know. Thank God.
I think it was a different game.
Oh, okay.
And but the game there was another 5-on-5 brawl, and I remember Mike Allison was in the thick of that.
That's right too. Yeah, Mike Allison. Yeah.
And Tony Granado was in it.
Yeah.
And it was, at least three of the Edmonton guys. Dave Brown.
Yep. I remember Kelly Buchberger was going at it too, right?
Buchberger,
Yeah.
Buka Boom.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Three heavyweights.
These guys were all 6'6", and it was like
And wasn't that Czech defenseman we had? What was his name?
Peter Preisler.
That's right. He finally got fed up and took a swing at somebody. Remember that though? Yeah.
And just popped someone. Too bad he had his glove on though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't think that was probably the first time he ever fought. Like he didn't know what he was doing at all. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, the Oilers were tough teams back then too. They were good and tough.
Well, you guys got him in '89 though too.
Yeah, 89. We were down 3-1 and came back and won that series, right?
Yeah.
That was good. I remember that. That was a fun series. Wasn't game 7 in LA too?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Didn't Cruiser score the overtime winner?
I think so. Yeah, that's right. Well, that was a good series because they were cocky too. They were up 3-1 on us. I remember one of the things. Issa Tikkanen, when they left after game 4, or was it? It must have been game. One of the games when they left LA. He said something to the trainers. Oh, we'll see you next year. Like kind of insinuating that they were going to finish off the series, and the trainer came and told us, and that was kind of got us going.
Put it on the board.
Yeah.
Tim, I want to jump ahead and ask you about it because you were there in '93 as well for that run, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Did you guys want to strangle McSorley when he took that penalty?
Well, you know what? Marty was a big part of the team, and you know what? Stuff happens, and you don't know.
He got away with it for a while. He got a penalty for an illegal curve. If anybody doesn't remember, right?
Yeah, it's just one of those things. We never would have got there without Marty, because Marty was a huge part of our team that year.
Yeah.
And stuff happens. How they picked his stick? Well,
yeah,
there was some shenanigans with that, right?
Well, it's famous in Montreal. They had the trainer, so the visiting trainer would, when nobody's around, he'd measure all the sticks, and he'd go back and tell the Montreal team whose sticks were illegal. But we knew that though too, right? We knew that was going on. So, but you know what, buddy, that was really good the way you put that, because Marty really was a huge part of that team in so many ways. Like he made himself into a good player. Obviously, stood up for all his teammates. He was good.
No question about it. So I have we made an unbelievable run, and unfortunately, that kind of popped our bubble, and we just never recovered from that overtime loss that year.
Yeah.
But what a run it was! No one ever dreamt. I think we were the last team to make the playoffs that year.
Oh,
I
I
think
didn't
we
know.
were
Wow.
seed.
Well, that Toronto series was a good series too. That was good.
Yeah, they had that huge
I
upset.
got my teeth knocked out in that series.
Oh, did you? By who? Who knocked them out?
Marty.
Oh.
Did you want to strangle him then?
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
So
Marty
got going the wrong way. Someone trying to go down the middle, he got going the wrong way, and he swung around, and the heel of his stick caught me right in the mouth.
Oh, is that right?
So I lost 3 upper teeth, 2 front teeth, and then knocked 6 back in the bottom. I was in the dental chair till about 4 a.m.
Oh, is that right? Wow.
And,
You're getting fake ones now? Fake in there? Nice, looking good. Mine are new ones too. I got new ones. People always ask, right? You lose your teeth, you're a hockey player. Lose your teeth. Oh yeah, they're mine. We paid for them.
Man. We had Clint Malarchuk on, and he's a horse dentist, and he really liked Tom's teeth. He was impressed. So it's a bonus for us.
Had you know Clint Malarchuk?
What a good guy.
I was gonna say, yeah, I thought you knew him. Yeah, he was funny. He was a good guy.
So I didn't know him real well, but can I tell you a story about Clint?
Yes, you can. You're going to it anyways. Yeah.
So I'm playing in Phoenix for the Roadrunners,
right?
And he is in Vegas playing for the American League team, or I don't know if it's American League team or Central League in Vegas. So we're playing there, and the coach there is Strum.
Oh yeah, Bob Strum.
And Marty's brother.
Oh, he was in that case too. He's nutty.
So Clint comes up to me after a game, and he said, "Muddy, what did you do to McSorley and Strum? Because they hate you." Well, the last time we played them, so I'm lining up in the neutral zone, and they are chirping me.
Really?
The face-offs in the neutral zone, they're just all over me.
Right.
This is so bad.
No, it's never bad with you, Timmy. Come on. What'd you do? Fire the puck at them? What did you do?
No, I look at them.
Right.
And I say to Marty's brother, "Oh, be quiet. I'll come and visit you in jail in Buffalo in the summer."
Oh. What was that from?
I don't know. And then I look at Strummer and I say, "You shitbag, keep it down back there." And their whole bench almost laughed, and they looked.
Oh, it's all right.
And they sent out a guy to beat the crap out of me the next shift.
Did they?
And then every game after that, it was like they wanted to kill me.
Oh, is that right?
Rightly so. But
weren't you in camp when Marty's brother was in camp with us too in LA?
Yes.
Yeah. I remember he came through, and I went to just step up and hit him, and he fell down face first right into my knee, knocked him out cold. I'm thinking, oh, this is great. Now I'm going to go whole training camp with 2 McSorleys chasing me around all over the place. Definitely. Come on, one more good story. Come on, give me your best story of all time. Winnipeg, LA Kings.
Laidlaw.
No, I can't tell the story.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you. Okay, I'll tell you. My rookie year in Winnipeg.
Right.
So I make the team, and they tell Sally and I to get an apartment in Winnipeg. We get an apartment. I play one game, -3. I don't play for like 3 or 4 games. No one talks to you back then.
Oh yeah. There's nothing.
Team goes on the road to Calgary. They leave me in Winnipeg.
No. You're the only one by yourself?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
They come back. Oh, you're going to Tulsa. They send me down to Tulsa where the farm team was.
Right.
And Sally stays in Winnipeg. So I go down, and I get picked up at the airport by a guy by the name of Rick Bonus.
Oh, Bonus.
He's the player assistant coach. He's kind of an assistant coach down there.
Right.
And he picks me up, and he said, "Well, what'd they tell you?" Well, I'll only be down for a couple weeks.
Right.
He laughed in my face. "Kid, they tell that to everybody."
That's funny.
And I'm like, "What?"
That's funny.
And so he picks me up, and I end up playing 5 games in Tulsa. and it's going on 2 weeks. And I called Sally. I said, Sally, no one's saying anything. Why don't you pack up our 2 big trunks and come on down, and we'll go from there. Because they had me move into an apartment with a roommate. His name was Sandy Beadle.
Sandy Beadle.
And bless his soul, he passed a few years ago. But I move in with him. Sally gets down there this afternoon, like one afternoon. And it's a Saturday night. I remember it's a Saturday night game. She comes to the game. We're back at the apartment. It's 2 o'clock in the morning and the phone rings.
You're getting called back.
Tim, we want you at the airport at 7.
Poor Sally.
So I meet the team in Toronto, play in Toronto, play in Colorado, Calgary. So it's another week on the road. Sally is down in Tulsa with Sandy.
She got a roommate, yeah. Sandy Beadle.
So we're at the luggage terminal in Winnipeg, and I go up to Mr. Ferguson. Mr. Ferguson, is it all right if my wife comes back to Winnipeg? And if you send me down, we'll drive down to Tulsa. He says, yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Poor Sally. I didn't know that story.
Sally came back, and then they never said anything to me. And as guys got called up, I called them and said, hey, could you grab that suitcase? There's another suitcase down there. And we're still missing stuff from Tulsa, but that's okay.
That's fine. Good job. Well, you've had one heck of a career. Seriously, I really mean that. I think if you look at your career, like I said to you before, you really got a lot of it, but most out of it, probably more than most players I played with. Like more guys had more skill maybe, but you took your skill that you had, made it in a lot. So you're very proud of yourself.
Well, I wasn't cheated, and I had the pleasure of playing with guys like you and many other guys that helped me along. And, I was really green when I came in and never, I think the thing is I never took anything for granted.
That's for sure. You did not.
And I think that helped me, given my skill situation. I think that helped me a lot. And I checked the lineup board every game, make sure that I was playing or not playing.
Right. That's the great thing about not having much skill, right? You're not going to survive on skill. You got to come to work. I'm serious. I think that's how you and I made it. Yeah. No question.
Yeah, so I enjoyed every second of it. And again, teammates like yourself and many others, I have to give credit to, and coaches too. I mean, they help shape my career, and it was special experience for me.
Yeah. Tim and Tom, you're up. Famous line. I'll never forget that. How many times that happened? Or Tom, take a break. You've done your job. You're a great teammate, brother. Good to see you again. Thanks for coming on the show.
Enjoyed every second of it, and thanks for having me, you guys.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Tim. All right, so there it is. I got to experience the Tim and Tom show. I hope our listeners enjoyed that. That was awesome.
I love all the shows that we have done and are going to do, but that was a special one for me. Tim Waters, today, he and I played together in LA, and it's a running joke with all the players from LA at that time. It was Tim and Tom. So Robbie Ftorek and Brian Maxwell loved us and play us all the time. So Tim and Tom.
Yeah, you can see you had good chemistry even now, 30 years later, as you tell your stories and you talk. It was really cool to see.
Yeah, good man. He was like one of those people ask me all the time who some of my favorite players are, and you can't have just one guy that's played, but he is one.
Well, Tom Laidlaw is your favorite player.
Well, there's no question about that. Everybody else comes second. All right, good point by you, Tom.
Thank you. Great show.
Yeah, it was a really good show. All right, Grasshoppers, thank you for listening. We had a fantastic show. We'll see you next time.
Hey, boss. You look stressed.
Look at all these holiday orders coming in. I've got enough on my plate already. I can't deal with shipping.
I think it's time for a break.
I can't. There's too much to do.
You can, because I got ShipStation to automate all of our shipping needs.
I think I heard about ShipStation on a podcast.
ShipStation is the easiest way to ship everywhere we sell online. It does all the work for us, so we can focus on growing our business. Returns are simple. Bulk order updates and automation options make order fulfillment easy, all while saving up to 84% off top carriers. It's more sales with less work.
what would I do without you?
You mean, what would you do without ShipStation?
That too.
Work less and sell more when you automate your shipping needs with ShipStation. Go to ShipStation.com and use code AUDIO to sign up for a free 60-day trial today.